And yes, we're live. Welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. My name is Ryan Clifford. Join me in this episode from obviously Sunday's defeat against St Johnstone. Apologies for no dialing at the Monday, sorry. Just due to situations, obviously had to cancel. But we're back. It's Wednesday morning in the Morven. Thanks again for the hospitality. I'm joined by John and Aaron. Aaron, obviously, had the weekend to obviously go over the defeat against St Johnstone. I know the pros and cons yet. Still 13 points clear. It looks like the league's going to be wrapped up, but you still can't be complacent, and I don't know if that's seeping in. But what's your thoughts of the game overall, Alan, and how are you this morning?
Morning. Great to have John on with us. He's
Bosman.
Aye, definitely. So he's
A free transfer.
So he views all the time, and we've done a wee video on Tenerife as well. We've been on a few times, so it's great to have another opinion apart from your two useless opinions. So I know, very good. Obviously, reflecting on the weekend, I think Brendan's kind of voiced his unhappiness, shall we say. And to be honest, the players have had the praise kind of going that amount clear in the league. They've had the praise of how we've done in the Champions League. So with that praise comes criticism. And I'm sorry to say, lads, but criticism's definitely what's due for that performance at the weekend and performances that's been happening recently anyway. It was completely unacceptable. You're saying about complacency, but you're looking at the bare minimum you'd think your kind of Celtic team was giving 100% effort, and you're looking at a few of the players, and I'm sure we'll dig into it kind of later on, but you're looking at a few of the players, and are they giving it all? Are they putting themselves on the line? No, for me, and I think that just kind of shows that Brendan feels the same because of how visibly angry he was. And for me, we can't be complacent. We're coasting over the line where it should be that we're kind of pushing ourselves because we have got another kind of cup to win as well. So I think Brendan's probably went right through the players. He's speaking about kind of the summer transfer window as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. And I hope everyone that's watching's well, and hope John's well.
I'm great, mate.
Just take it.
I just think the season as a whole has been successful so far. But if you want to take each game in isolation, the last maybe 6-7 weeks or so has just not been good enough. The consistency seems to have gone, but still a lot to play for. There's still the Scottish Cup semi-final against St Johnstone after the Kilmarnock game. But the looks at the last few games, I think a few places in the team might be up for grabs now with the inconsistencies. So he went strong last week, the week before, and there was no youth on the bench, and it was a strong side. But the way he was talking, he's going to be making changes for this week. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be getting dropped. And it will be dropped, it's not going to be rotation. Let's cut there. It's going to be dropped.
No, definitely. I definitely agree. Just go through some of the comments to start with just now, lads. So get Martin Isbert on. Hail, fellow champions. Hail, mate. Jordan Henderson. I thought he was playing for Ajax, but aye. So, hey guys, hail. Hope you're well, mate. Celts on tour. Morning troops. Plunge. Morning, boys. Ryan, your dad, and Big Alan. Morning. The boss is missing. The two daddies are here. That's all right. Don't worry about that, mate.
The boss is at the bar, Lindsay's in here.
And Jem, morning, Ryan, Alan, John, and chat. I noticed there was no notifications on YouTube about today's pod. Not everyone is on socials. Apologies for that. We thought it was put on, but we've got...
That's the thought I done it this morning, because I done Twitter and Facebook and stuff, so apologies. I did obviously put on the socials that obviously we're on, but unfortunately I've forgot to do the YouTube. But sorry about that. Again, it happens. But aye, any other comments?
Anybody everybody else. We've got P. McLaughlin that's on. All the motivation we could ever hope to have when the full-time whistle went at Ibrox last Saturday. Definitely. Just my thoughts on, we were talking about kind of individual players that might be dropped, no rotated, shall we say. I think you could probably go through most of the side, but I think there's ones that are kind of sticking out like so fun for me personally. I don't know if you maybe agree, but I think Trusty's looking too soft just now if you go through the team. I think Trusty's looked good at times throughout his kind of his time at Celtic. I think that he has kind of showed a lot of promise, but there is games. I think probably the one that stands out the most is maybe the Dundee game away, wasn't it? He got kind of pushed off the ball for was it the third goal, I think. Then you go through. Sloop wasn't necessarily his best game. I always kind of love Hatate, but I think his end product at the weekend was missing. I think the comparison between him and Engels, that Hatate was making himself kind of available. I personally, I seen Engels hiding a wee bit. To be fair, I think he needs to show a hell of a lot more than he has been the last couple of games. He's still a young guy. I think he has got all the potential to be a very, very good player. You've seen the kind of technique and the ability that he's got. And then you go into the likes of Nicholas Kuhn. Nicholas Kuhn, I don't know, that's an enigma. I'm not sure what's happening there. No idea what's happening there, because you've seen again the amount of ability he's shown. He was up there with kind of player of the season. Probably before the new year, you would say he was a stick-on for the player of the season. Dyson Maida's come in and he's up to levels again. But Nicholas Kuhn's kind of the last number of games he's been kind of posted missing most of the time. And then you're looking at the bench. I think Paulo Bernardo, as we've all says, that we're looking forward to seeing him back, and I think he might get a spot in the team when it comes to the weekend. I think whether that be who's dropped out, if that's Will Hatate or Arne Engels, I think you could see kind of Paulo Bernardo coming into the team. Then we go on to our favourite man up front, Mr. Adamida, and I'm sorry to say, boys, it's definitely not working. And I've heard all these these reasons why it's working, and I've heard all these excuses that, he scored in a cup final. Well, I'm sorry to say, boys, Joel Pierre Doumbé scored in a cup final, right? And then you get the people that are saying, but he scored in the Champions League. I'm sorry, lads. Gustav Lagerbielke scored in the Champions League. Tony Watt scored against Barcelona in the Champions League. Does that make it all right? No, I'm sorry. Adamida does not look interested. And I'm sorry to say, I think we've had our pants properly pulled down by Norwich as we speak at present. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope he comes forward. He's had plenty of chances to step up, especially with Kyogo leaving. I think that was his chance to kind of step up and show that he wanted to be the kind of main man. He didn't do that. And any time I'm seeing him, I'm just not impressed at all. I don't know your thoughts on that, guys.
On Adamida, I thought he was all right on Sunday. I thought he did bring something different on Sunday.
All right's no good enough.
No. Look, I thought he done all right on Sunday. But I even said when we signed him that I wasn't sure about it. To be fair, I think he's got 14 goals. Considering he's not started every game, it's still an okay return. But again, for a Celtic striker at £9 million, it's what I'm asking for is probably different to what the manager wants. It could be different what John likes, what you like, what JP likes. Any of the commenters and viewers, we all see different values in players. For me, for £9 million, I want my striker to score goals. That's what he's signed to do. Obviously, he's got to do things beyond that. It's all right saying scoring goals, but you've still got to do the bits outside that. And I think his overall general play, as it stands now, is not been good enough to be Celtic's main striker. I think another pre-season, because I think his pre-season was stop-start last year, obviously due to no going with Norwich and then come to Celtic. It was in limbo where he was coming or gone. I think next year is probably where you could see the best of him, but I think you've got to see the best of him next year. Same with Engels. I know I'm a big fan of Engels, but I think the last few games, I don't like saying it, hiding, but that's the truth, because I'm saying it because I used to hide sometimes when you're only playing well. Hide behind defenders. Cal McGregor done it in certain games as well. Players dead when they lack confidence or they're not in a good mood. Nicholas Kuhn was hiding at Celtic Park against Rangers ever since Bayern Munich. I think he's been on holiday. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or that's just the way I know wingers can be inconsistent. Jota's been a wee bit inconsistent, but the thing with Jota is when Jota's he's still got a threat. Even the Sunday, he wasn't great, but he still had that. As soon as he gets the ball, he's direct and he's still.
To the point where see like as soon as he gets the ball, you're going something can happen here. But something can happen here. You're getting that with Nicholas Kuhn at the minute. You're getting that with many other players, maybe Diaz and Maida. But when Jota gets the ball, you're thinking something can happen here. And I think that's the difference where you've got confidence he might do something.
Adam Maeda's obviously he's unlucky as well that Maeda's obviously been banging form, and obviously the manager thinks Maeda's the main option. But we will obviously touch on certain players as we go along. But obviously the first goal, John, it kind of came from what I looked at. The same kind of goal at Celtic Park as Rangers done against us. Jeffrey Sloop, his man probably, but it looks at. I was a big fan of him when he's come in. The last 2 or 3 games, he's no been the same. Listen, I know it happens, and it happens, but I think as much as I might not be his biggest fan, I think Greg Taylor might be a shoe-in for the next few games, because I think you were right there that some players might need dropped, and if you're not performing at Celtic, then eventually you will be on the bench.
Regarding the first goal, we got a wee fright just before it, where he fired the ball into the box. We didn't really cope with it. And then Sloop gives away an absolute crazy foul in a dangerous area. Try not give away fouls in dangerous areas, because Celtic are just not aggressive enough in both boxes. The defence for me are far too soft. Go back a couple of games, the game at Celtic Park against Rangers, I don't think we made one what we'd call a physical tackle. And I might not be Tony Ralston's biggest fan, but I think if Tony Ralston was playing, he might have been a wee bit late with a couple of tackles, if you know what I mean, because that's the kind of player he is. But after the first goal, I had a right bad feeling. After that, I just couldn't see us doing anything, to be honest with you. The bobbly pitch, just the inconsistency of the team the last few games. I know we had probably plenty of chances to come back and get at least a point, but it was see watching it, it was so boring and dull. There was no excitement in it. As you say, when Jota gets the ball, you go, oh yes, something might happen. Is there anybody else can do that in the team?
See, with regards to the first goal, John, I don't know how you feel, but I was saying to Ryan as well. Do you think other teams are watching that just now and thinking that type of corner, that our defenders are kind of caught in their heels? Because that's what it looked like. See the running man. See with them, their players attacking phase when they make the run. Our players were pedestrian, standing still,
Marking space.
Aye.
That's what
So they're right away. They're getting kind of one up by making that run. They're moving, and we're caught in our heels. So it just looked, and there was another few corners like that during that game. That there was, I think there was one that. There was a header that went direct into Sinisalo's hands as well. But there was kind of, with their set pieces, there was kind of threatening times, and it looked as if we were kind of pedestrian. We were caught in our heels and just kind of too slow at times and too passive, shall we say. We weren't kind of attacking with their attacking players. Like we were kind of just too pedestrian, too lacklustre. And then the rest of the game, yeah, we had the majority of possession like we always do, but did we really cause enough troubles? Yeah, you're looking at probably our best opportunity was Forrest, I think. Probably should score, he just made sure he gets it target.
Let's be, that's, I would like to think I'd score that in my sleep.
So
He's on the left-hand side, had it be a left foot.
Aye.
That I know James, listening, James an experienced player, he'll know himself. There's certain players, well, we've all played football, right? You don't need to be told that you've missed a set. You don't need to be told that you're not playing well. Players know that, so they'll know after that game that. But it sounds it. Well, that's the last twice now at McDermott Park. The first half, I think during the first part of the year, I think we came back 1-3-1. I think it was 3-1. I think. Or it was 3-0. But I think it was 3-1. But I come back at half time. McGregor says it was the worst he's ever seen Rodgers, the angriest he's ever seen him. And then again, when he looks at it, he came out 2 or 3 minutes early. Didn't look best pleased. He's presser after it. He's talking about mentality and stuff like that. And obviously we'll touch on certain players, but yourself, John, do you think there's any players that you think he's... Now, this is just me making an assumption just due to performances and stuff. Do you think there's any players that... There must be players that he's obviously... that'll be kept in-house, but there'll be players he's obviously questioning the mentality to beat Celtic now. You've seen a bit more than me with Celtic, obviously I'm still I might not look at, but there's always something to play for at Celtic. I think to play at Celtic, you can be... like years gone past, you had... guys like Janino, right? Phenomenal player, came to Celtic, wasn't he great? Did he hit Freddie Lundberg? But I know he was older, but did they have a mentality to play with Celtic? There's certain players that I think you can have all the ability, but if you've not got the mental strength and the will to keep going to play at Celtic, is it mentioning Engels, Trusty, Kuhn? Is that 3 players, John? Slip. I think the half-time changes told you as well. Do you think that's what the manager's getting at, or us as a fan base will be too reactionary because you are clear in the league, you're possibly going to win the treble if you beat St Johnstone, you're still going for a successful season, but do you think there's small things that eventually might lose you games and might drop points that if you don't get them right, i.e. the league's not done yet, in my opinion, John. The league's obviously, like, realistically we're going to win the league, right? But until you get your hands on that trophy or until it's mathematically done, you can't set off. There's always something to play at Celtic, be that 3 points, be that a goal record, be that pride, be that, put it this way, it was 8,000 fans, 3 stands, went to Celtic Park, McDermott Park, basically nearly one of St Johnstone's highest attendances in a long time. And they watched utter, let's be fair, it was a ball fest. We were all bored. And that's no Celtic. Normally with Rodgers, it's entertaining football. Do you think, are they going through the motions, John? And for me, at Celtic, until the league's finished, you can then relax, make some changes, play young boys, experiment when the league's finished. If you beat, obviously you don't want to beat any derby game, but if you beat the Rangers at Ibrox and the league's finished, it's not a bigger blow. Right? All right, it happened with Ange. He made changes, we get beat. All right, but the league's finished. But do you think that's... is he questioning some of the players' mentality to be here next year?
I think it's just question their mentality all in regarding next year. But he's definitely got more ruthless, which I'd never seen before. Regarding Greg Taylor, the Bayern Munich game, he kicked the ball out of the park 2 or 3 times and he did enough of it. He kicked the ball out of the park and Rodgers was like, get him off, get a sub one. And he done it. It was 2 games either before it or after it, the exact same time with Greg Taylor. He'd seen enough and went, nah, off. And I've never seen that for Brendan before. Never seen him so agitated and angry, which I quite like because he's normally just placid and talks very well, etc. But you can see he's really angry. But a big thing for me is he just plays the same system all the time. You've got to chop and change it, regardless of who you're playing. Like St Johnstone, for me, he does no physical enough. Anybody that says he does physicals talk nonsense. He's a big lump, but he offers no aggression, no physicality. I'd like to see some aggression and physicality up front, games like that. The tippy-tappy stuff doesn't work all the time. Domestically, it does most of the time, to be fair, because we've got better players than everybody else. But I just want to see he's playing a different way. I've been to quite a few games this season, and see, to be honest, most games, there's elements in every game, great passages of playing, great football and great goals. But see, to be honest, I'm bored out my nut most of the games. With the square, passing, backwards passing. I think with the possession stats, say we get 70% possession. 40% of that is across the back 4. Say 20 in the middle and maybe 10% in the final third. you can only score goals if you're in the final third, and we're not in the final third enough. We're not doing enough. St Johnstone game, Maida was very rarely facing the goal. He was facing the Celtic goal all the time, offering no threat, which was not his fault. Got to find a different way of playing.
See, on that as well, now I mentioned to you and JP in the chat, the group chat, I text you as well during the game, that I couldn't believe at 1-0 down, he's changed a striker. Why no go? What I get, listen, I think Rodgers, one thing about him is he's stubborn. In terms that he knows the way he wants to play. Listen, it's worked for us, we can't criticise it. It's worked for us, we're potentially going to win a treble. Potentially, I say that because I'm not getting overconfident because it's not a gimme after what we've just seen there. He's got a way of playing, and maybe there's certain players that might not be up to that now, and he's got to refresh. Listen, maybe some of these players, they've been through the war, they've been through brick walls for us, and they've done amazing for us, but maybe refresh. I've always said that Liverpool won the league 1 year, the next year, Klopp hasn't signed anybody. Next year was terrible for them. Man City this year, you don't really refresh the squad, we're going to lose the league. They might not even get into Europe. So I think as much as winning a treble could be amazing, well, sorry, it will be an unbelievable achievement, but people then go, how do you improve on that? Well, you need to refresh the squad. Some of these guys might need a new challenge. You need to bring new guys in, a new challenge, I think for me, Alan, the fact that he didn't go 2 up for me, listen, Brendan's far more articulate, he's far more knowledgeable than me. In my opinion, he's still an elite manager. No matter what people might say he's no, but he is. For what he's on at Celtic, I think it's a 70%, 68, 70% win rate at Celtic, I think this year. So that's phenomenal. But the fact that he didn't go 2 up front, I don't know why managers do that. He stuck with the same formation, like John says. There was no other plan in terms of changing the formation. You can change players, but it's still going by the same way. I would have went 2 up front with Ida, in Maeda, and just lump the ball up to Ida. If you can flick it on, hold it up, play it through Maeda, through the channels, to at least go and give you something. I know, but like he says, two have said that we had chances, but try and go a bit more braver and go 2 up front.
Aye, no, I agree with you, but even if we changed the formation slightly, did we look scoring?
But if you go 2 up front, it gives you a different dimension.
Aye, I'd probably say it's the personnel that's kind of let us down. I know what you're saying about kind of Rodgers, if he could have changed the kind of formation or the way we were playing, but I just think there was far too many passengers in that pitch for us and the weekend there. I think you're looking at, we spoke about it as well, and we aren't being kind of massively critical, right? We need to realise that we are having overall a good season.
It's just in this game. It's just in this game, man.
We're looking at that's down to last year as well. It's down to last year. We went. I spoke about this the other day. We went a full calendar year domestically in the league unbeaten. Full year, and we're now at the start of April. We'll be beat 4 times this year. The league 4 times. So that is a massive drop off. When you look at the consistency and how well we were playing, and I think what's frustrating the fans, us as well, look, a lot of people will be looking going, 13 points clear, we've already won a trophy. In the semi-final of the last trophy for a potential treble, why are you moaning, right? But it's because you see the level that these players and this team's capable of. We've seen this earlier in the season. We've seen the standard that we can play at. And it's dropped off so much that it's infuriating. It's frustrating that we aren't playing to that standard. We aren't stepping up to that level anymore. And I don't know the reason why this kind of significant drop off. If you're looking at last kind of calendar year with Celtic at their very best, do you think that we would be beaten at Celtic Park for Rangers? Do you think we would be beaten by St Johnstone? I doubt it. So it is, we are being very complacent. We are kind of coasting over the line. We're speaking about could Brendan kind of change up his tactics? Could he change up his formation? I think that's very doubtful. I think, as you say, Brendan is very stubborn. He likes to kind of stick to a certain way of playing. It has worked for the majority of the time, and I do believe he'll still kind of stick to that way. But I think the main thing is we are going to need more for the players. We are going to need the amount that they're capable of, and at present they're not showing what they're capable of. They're not reaching the levels that we know, the standards we know that they can reach. And for me, that's what complacency is, and they need to kind of get their finger out pretty sharpish, because we have got some important games coming up in the next number of weeks.
Aye, well, I'll get yourself on some comments just before I say this, but I am on Austin Trusty. I think we mentioned that there about he's got the basis, I think, to be a good defender for us. Whether or no Rodgers has got to coach him, or there's got to be a mentality, because I think he's one of them. He's talking about the mentality, because obviously he's came from Sheffield United, who play in the Premier League, good level, but he came for relegation. I don't know exactly about his full career, but I don't know how many trophies he's won, but I doubt he's been playing at the level that he's playing at now, going for trebles, playing against Bayern Munich, basically Celtic, Sheffield United, obviously, we bash Sheffield Wednesday. It's every game he's still need to win, but if Sheffield United draw, I know they're going for promotion, but if they draw, it's no disaster. Obviously, it may be a disaster considering where they were in the league at the time and stuff, but if Sheffield United draw against Everton, it's not a disaster. But if we get beat off St Johnstone, that shouldn't be happening. You're Celtic, even though, seen a normal season, right, if Rangers were proper challenges, and it's a real, if you come, the real Rangers are coming, right, the real Rangers, normally 3 to 4 games in a season is roughly all you can lose, I would say, roughly. 3 to 4 games. So 4 games in a season, it's no bad. But I think it's because we're saying we're so far ahead. To go to mid, aye. No, that's all it is. Aye. But I think Austin Trusty's got the basis to be a good defender for us. But I do believe defensively, and I think one guy will bring it in. He played last night for Arsenal. He was tremendous in the 10 minutes he was on. He was on at the weekend there. He created the most chances when he was on the park. I don't think, again, I've said it last week, I'll keep saying it, I don't think some fans realise the quality of player getting Kieran Tierney. Now, we think Jeffrey Stop's done okay. Fans think Greg Taylor's done good for us, which he has, but in terms of ability-wise, wait to see this guy come in. He looked very sharp last night. For Scotland, he didn't look very good. Against the weekend, he was good for Arsenal, looked sharp. He came on against Madrid, looked very sharp. He could go and potentially win the Champions League and then come to Celtic. That's like Paul Lambert going from Dortmund to Celtic. That's, in my opinion, that's the sort of class they're getting. But on Trusty there, John, do you think potentially in the summer, for me, that's what I've got to say, sorry, with Trusty, what message does it send to the squad, to guys that maybe like Johnny Kenny, Nerowski, Yang as well potentially, Bernardo, guys who are pushing, Tony Ralston, Greg Taylor, guys that are on the bench pushing to go and get into the team, and the youth players come in to try and go on the bench. Nerowski, no matter what you think about him, whether you think you like him, you don't like him, or you think he's good enough, that's here or no. But he hardly kicked the ball. He's obviously been told behind the scenes, you need to do this better, you need to get fat, you need to do this, you need to do that. He's won against Rangers, won everything in the air. He might be a bit slow and a bit rusty. Won everything in the air, was probably best defender. I was at the Hearts game, won everything in the air. He had 2 or 3 fresh air kicks. He'll need to get that out of his system. But he looked competent. He was passing the ball forward. He was playing it crisp. I'm not saying he's Maldini. I'm not saying he's going to be here longer term. I'm not saying he's the answer. But if you've come in 2 games that are 2 of the biggest games in the league and done well, and then you're back on the bench, and then, in my opinion, Brendan Rodgers says that he wants a natural left-footed player. For me, it's bullshit. If you're good enough to play at centre-back for Celtic, doesn't matter if you're left foot or right foot, you should be comfortable to play at that back line.
Regarding Trusty, I was talking about physicality. Trusty played in the Championship down England, which I think is a very, very physical league. They play 46 league games and cup games, so potentially close to 60 games a season. So I don't know how many games he played for Sheffield United. I haven't a clue. But he should be able to deal with playing Saturday, Wednesday. Champions League games, people were saying maybe the end of January we started looking tired after all the midweek games. But all the good teams play 60 to 70 games a season. Man City, 70 games a season, getting to all the semi-finals. a 40-game league, whatever. I'm not buying this tiredness as well. I've read people saying, oh, we're tired. We've got the best sports science available to us. The players are pampered. They don't actually train much. Aye, and they don't at this stage of the season.
Just be full of adrenaline to go and win the league.
They're not doing a lot of physical work during the week in the training ground. They're not be doing that. All the hard work's done pre-season, and they're just topping up as they go along.
You look right away, right? Well, Glasgow Derby opponents the last game day, the 120 minutes in their game previous to playing us, and they still come to Celtic Park and turn us over. So for me, I totally agree with you. You can't use kind of being tired as an excuse, because these guys, as you say, get all the best equipment, best kind of treatment, best of everything. So their training, everything points towards that they're able to play 2 or 3 games a week, but at the minute we're only playing 1 game, so I can't see any excuse for that. I think it's just, I'm starting to lean towards it might be a mentality thing. I think you're looking at that there is certain players that have dropped off a few levels, not even dropped off our level. Even as much as I admire him, and I think he's probably one of the best right backs we've had in a long time, I think Alistair Johnstone's kind of form over the last number of weeks has been questionable as well. I still think that he'll find that kind of form again, but we seem to be getting a lot, I'd maybe say half of our team at present, there's a lot of them kind of dropping off. At the same time, you can deal with maybe 1 or 2 players maybe dropping off and look kind of no playing to their absolute optimum, no playing to the standard that we know they're capable of. But when you've got kind of maybe 4 or 5 players at the same time that are kind of dropping off to that standard, then you're going to see kind of results like we did see at the weekend. So, there's only. I did like the way that kind of Brendan has reacted to this. I think that he's not hiding away from anything. He's coming out and let the fans know that this kind of complacency isn't acceptable. That he does expect more. We are kind of. I think there might be a few unexpected changes in the summer as well. I think you might see a couple of players that we maybe didn't expect to leave that might be kind of put out on loan or out the door. We'll see what happens, but it will be interesting. Let's hope we can get our season back on track the way it was going, positively. End the season with this treble and end the season with some kind of decent performances as well, because I think we've said it in the past, decent performances lead to results. So you continue to play to that kind of level, that standard that we know we're capable of, then the results will follow. It's as simple as that.
If there's just any comments, Alan, any questions or any comments we can chat on?
I've seen a question for Monty. Aye, Monty. I don't know if I agree with you. I don't need more time, more chances. I think he's had more chances Monopoly board. But he's got a question before that. We're good, Monty. With the pitch being in poor condition it was, why did we continue to attempt to play tippy-tappy football? Go long ball battle from there. My answer probably is, I don't think Brendan, we answered that kind of earlier with how stubborn Brendan can be, how set his way that Brendan can be. Would I like to see us kind of change it up? Possibly, I would. I think you can kind of surprise the opposition. You can kind of change things up, and it's usually beneficial towards the result and your play. So I wouldn't disagree with doing that, but what I think that Brendan probably won't do that. But would I like to see him possibly doing that? Yeah, probably. I don't know what your thoughts on that question is.
Do you think not having Casper was an influence on Sunday as well?
It's the folks in the saddle done all right. Tell what he done.
I'd probably say I don't think it's massive. I think
you think we should be good enough to go to St Johnstone?
Aye.
No matter who's in goal, the amount of goals they've conceded.
They're bottom of the league, so there's no excuses for that. With the player quality that we've got, with the finances, the infrastructure, everything about the club. There's no reason why we shouldn't be going to St Johnstone. We all due respect to St Johnstone, they played well, but we all due respect to St Johnstone. If Celtic turned up to their optimum, then it should be 3 points for Celtic 99% of the time. And it just so happens that we massively underperformed, and that's becoming a pattern emerging, as we're saying.
The only
It's been happening.
the only thing that I can be critical is this season. Now, listen, like you says, to go unbeaten to January is phenomenal in any league. Doesn't matter if you're playing junior football, amateur football, Man City level, whatever. People will listen to this and might think we've been critical, right? We've only been critical to this game. I take it as a game-to-game basis. So, on Saturday, if we win 5-0, then I'll praise winning 5-0. That's just the way it is. I go on a game-to-game basis. You can't forget what's happened, because what we could do could be, again, was it 6 trebles in 9 years or something like that? That's unbelievable. I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world to see my team do that. Like, you've been through the 90s, I didn't see that. You've seen guys playing with Celtic, who are guys like Paul McStay, hardly win anything. And there's guys in our team that could be winning trebles after treble. Brendan Rodgers is Celtic, they win as well. Celtic have made winning trebles the norm in Scotland the last decade or so. So we've only been critical of this game, and we only want us to be better every game and try and improve. And the thing for me, John, is I've noticed a small part in immersion is it takes sometimes us to get a goal, if it's a 25th minute, 20 minute, half an hour, to then start kicking and playing football. Dundee, I thought the performance was, I can accept getting beat, but when players on the chasing back, like Nicholas Kuhn against St Johnstone, see that jogging back, that fries my head. That I can't stand that. For me, that's a lack of desire, lack of hunger to go and chase back. That shouldn't be the case. So I'm going to go with it as complacency. But I just don't think that's something obviously the manager or managing McGregor. But for me, John, there's a wee small part in immersion in the last few months that we're taking very long to start games. And I think the manager's obviously, he's mentioned it a few times now about at Ibrox we started slow. Celtic Park we started slow against them. He mentioned it again at the weekend, we didn't start slow. So we're not making this up. This is coming from the manager of the club. Rangers we started really slow, Ibrox really slow, Dundee really slow, Hearts, I was at the game last weekend, two weeks ago. We came in 1-0 down after 3 minutes. 2 headers at the back in the front post, and Sam with a good save, and then you're only back fit at 1-0, because Hearts would have just basically parked the bus. It took us to about 20 odd minutes, I think, till we get the first goal, and then we started playing football. It was easy street, but I know people might say, oh, you're not entitled to get the first goal, you're not entitled, but the manager's wanting us to start quick, and they're not doing that. So how does he go about doing that, John?
Ryan, as well, like, I know we're not entitled, right, but everything about our club, the finances, the players, the infrastructure, the setup, right, we might not be entitled to win, we might not be entitled to get that first goal, but we've got the best of everything in this country. We've got a higher standard of everything in this country. So we might not be entitled, but that gives us the best opportunity and a better opportunity.
It gives you advantage, aye.
Give us an advantage over any team in this country. So we might not be entitled, but it's what should be happening the majority of the time. We should be winning the majority of the games. We should be winning the majority of trophies, because, see, it's like anything in life, you get what you pay for. We've got kind of the best setup of any team in the country at present. And what follows that is that we should be winning the majority of things, because it's like the biggest businesses make the most money, and that's because they've got the best setup, etc. So in regard to this country, we've got the best setup, we've got the best the highest capacity in the stadium, the most money in the bank, we've spent the most on kind of players, we've got the biggest value in players, wages. You look at training facilities that were investment. Aye. So all of this leads towards, right, there's no entitlement for us to win everything, but the majority of the time when you've got all of that in place, we should be winning the majority of things for me.
But you still need to obviously go and do it on the park. That's the thing. It's all right us saying, I think we've spent on Engels, Tusty, Nida. 26 million. So realistically, Celtic should be going and winning the league because the amount of money you're spending. But money doesn't always mean that. We've seen it with Man City in the past, seen it with Arsenal. I think Arteta spent nearly £1 billion or something at Arsenal, and they've not really won much. So money doesn't guarantee success. But on obviously what I mentioned there, John, about the Brendan Rodgers and stuff like that, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, if you want to take each game in isolation rather than the whole season, I want to win every game between now and the end of the season. We've lost 4 league games. I don't want to win the league by losing 6 league games. See, for me, that's not good enough. That's poor. As you were saying, was it yourself saying earlier on, normally 3 or 4 games you lose maximum to win the league, depending on how strong the opposition is for the other side of the city. I want to win every single game and win the Scottish Cup. It'd be an unbelievable season if you won the treble. As you said, take nothing for granted, but you can see Brendan's bubbling under the surface. Something's going on with him anyway. He's not happy. He's obviously got plans in place for next season because he obviously says he's going to be here for 3 years. I want him to make signings that's going to excite us. I want better quality. I want to play in a system that's different for the 4-3-3. Or you can change it depending on your opposition. I want to be excited, put it that way. I'm not excited at the moment watching a Celtic team, honestly. And you do get a bit entitlement about it. You don't deserve to win every single game of football. I understand that, but it's an entertainment business, as they're saying now, isn't it? And I'm just not getting entertained at the moment.
I think between the summer and January, we were pretty entertained. Some of us were saying it's some of the best football we've seen. Nicholas Kuhn was flying. Maeda was obviously scoring goals, but Kyogo was doing okay. He's obviously, again, it's unfortunate for him that he's not had the best of starts at his Rennes career. I think he's been badly advised on that as well. But a wee question I want to put to you is, I know it's sort of funny, it's just a wee bit of fun. And then we'll obviously touch on a wee bit of the game on Saturday, your thoughts about who can come in, who'll be out the team and who'll be in. And then we'll obviously end the show. But Aaron, if this is just a wee bit of fun, if there's one player that I've seen it on Twitter, him's a guy called Rich actually, I've seen it on Twitter. If there was one player, I'm not saying you need to sign him, it's just a wee bit of fun, that you could sign for Angie's team that would fit into this team very well and complement the team very well, who would you sign?
Aaron Moy.
Jackie Marcus.
That's all right.
That's a good shout. I just
It's a different way of playing. Is that what you're saying?
I just really thought how effective Aaron Moy was in that kind of one season.
I'll put that to the viewers as well. If there's anybody for Angie's team,
O'Reilly out of the team.
aye.
You could go Jackie Mack, you could go Carol Starfelt as well.
You could put that to the viewers. Any comments, viewers, if there's any...
Basically everybody's not
Aye.
in there.
Aye.
Carol
Put that on to the viewers. If there's anybody that...
Starfelt.
Starfelt. If there's anybody for Angie's team, just for a bit of fun, that you would take back and think that would do well in this system, just let us know.
But I think there's kind of 3 good shit. Aaron Moy, Jackie Marcus and Starfelt. O'Reilly, did you really see the best of O'Reilly under Ange? I think probably Brendan's first season, I think you see the best of Matt O'Reilly. No, they're all decent shouts. I think we just need a wee bit of kickstart, I think a lot of these players...
Do you think the experience with Aaron Moy would have helped the team as well?
Definitely, aye. I thought it was a Rolls Royce player, honestly. I thought you really seen the best of Aaron Moy.
He was a fantastic signing in the kind of Lobo type of thing.
Aye.
Somebody over the age of 30 with a lot of experience. Was he actually playing football when Celtic signed him?
He just released with China, wasn't it?
Aye, he wasn't playing as such.
Shanghai Shenhua or
I could
something.
know your stuff.
A wee bit, aye.
But he was a great signing. Fitted in perfect, as I say. Kept Matt O'Reilly out the team, that's saying something for Scotland. I know Matt's maybe struggling ever since he got injured in his first game with him down there. He's not been managed to get into the team and stay in it, but that's a good shout. Good
All right, mate,
connection,
hope you're well.
Right, so we're going to...
Aye, but I'm going to agree with you, John. That's what I said to the guy, I think it was Rich. I don't know if he watched the podcast, but Jackie Marcus for me. I still think Jack, whether or not what you think about him as a person, or how he left, or what he wanted before he left, just what he done for Celtic, he was competing with Kyogo. If Jackie Marcus played or Kyogo, you weren't really bothered. He done well for us, I thought, in the Champions League when he played. The game I always remember he done well in was, I think, I don't know if we were 2-1 or it was 2 each. No, it was 2-1, I'm sure. We were winning anyway. I can't remember exactly the point of the game, but it was against Ferencvaros away from home, and I'm sure it was nip and tuck still. It was 2-1, I think it was roughly, and I think did we not win 3-1 or 3-2 in that game at Ferencvaros away from home? Memory escapes me. 3-1, so I'm sure it was 2-1, right? If anybody can quote me on that, then tell me. But we weren't clear in the game, and he brought on Jackie Marcus. I think it was 20 minutes to go. And he was different class. He was getting fibbles, he was falling about, he was getting his elbows in. And that, see when we are, especially when we go to, I'm not saying very as far as our better teams because I know, but when we go away from home in Europe, if you're 1-0 up or 2-1 and you don't want to be brave and go for it, that's where you need somebody like him. That's what maybe Ida has to get into the game a wee bit more. I'm not saying he's finished with Celtic. I'm not saying they're going to be.
Jackie Marcus makes Ida look like Mo Bangura. Right, I'll tell you that. Right, there's no comparison.
I was a big fan of Jackie Marcus, and that was my answer to his wee question on Twitter. He was a goal scorer at Celtic. He went through, I think, 4 or 5 games. He scored in 1 or 2 touches when he was on the park. He was strong. He was physical. He suited the Scottish game. He suited Scottish football. He was that nastiness. See against Rangers, he'd be getting his elbows in there, he'd be getting his arse out, not his arse out, but you know what I mean.
I might have won that header, the rebound was a goal, was it? But the rebound was a goal.
He scored against the one, but I think it's Bernabei, McCarthy, Jackie Marcus at St Johnstone, the last minute goal. So that's only that's the sort of player that I think would suit Brendan's style. If he was to go one man up front, he might not suit him in terms of the chasing and the harrying and that side of it, but in terms of European football, that sort of striker I think would suit us.
Well, actually, I thought he pressed down pretty well. I thought he was underestimated for that regard.
He was a threat in the final third. Definitely.
That was it, P. McLaughlin 3-2 away, aye. That was it.
So what I'm sure we'll have another podcast. We'll delve into the...
Monty says you're too harsh in either.
If Monty, see if I'm proven wrong, fair play, I'll put my hands up.
JD says Starfelt.
I'll put my hands up, Monty, if I'm wrong with either. But that's been basically a full season that he's been a Celtic player now. And he's had many opportunities. And the biggest opportunity of them all was when the main man, Kyogo, leaves, and Dyson Maida is playing on the wing. And Brendan has come out and says that he wanted to keep Dyson Maida on the wing. He says he wanted to bring in another striker with Adam Maida to compete for that centre-forward position. And Adam Maida he's not stepped up whatsoever. That was the prime, perfect opportunity for him to kind of step up and say, this position is mine, I'm going to come in and take that. And he's no.
That says we can only judge this as fans now. We don't know behind the scenes. I've always said that we only get to see 90 minutes on a Saturday or Sunday during the week, right? So the manager did say he's pressure during the week. I think that he does training well, he's doing well, he's happy with him. So we can only go with that, and he obviously rates him. So the biggest. No, I know, no, I get that. But on to yourself, Alan. Just the last wee 5 minutes. I know we'll touch on it in probably tomorrow or Friday, probably Friday, but it looks at for Saturday's game. But do you think any players might come in? McKibben will either come in, Yang, even Forrest, Taylor. Do you think I don't want to make too many changes because you might upset the rhythm of the team. But who do you think, or do you think there'll be many changes? What's your thoughts, Alan?
Gotta say that's bad.
Yang.
I think he will. I've not been a massive fan of Yang. I think he's showed dribs and drabs. He kind of
mostly drabs.
Aye, he's not been consistent whatsoever. Anytime he started, he's not showing it, but he's at present. And I was the one that says at the weekend there that I'd go with the quality, and quality will always kind of come out on top. But when I've watched kind of Nicholas Kuhn at that weekend there, I think he needs a game or two at the team. Whether that be that Forrest comes in or Yang, I tend to think it might be Yang. And I never thought I'd say that in my life.
George says, Ryan, it was me that met you in town a few weeks ago. Back, say hello. Hi, mate, how you doing? Oh, I remember now, George. I was wondering who it was. Great podcast, though, lads. Respect to the rest of the boys who aren't on with yous, Barry, JP, and all the rest. Hail, hail. Hey, well, George, thanks for watching, mate. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't know who you were, mate, at the time, but thank you, mate.
Alcohol involved?
No, I don't think so, no. I think you're sober.
So, I could see Yang or Forrest coming in. I think Nicholas could maybe need a game or two out the team, maybe come on off the bench. I could also see whether it be Hitati or Engels dropping out. I think personally, I don't think the two of them have played their best at the weekend there, but I would slightly lean towards I think Engels because he was missing. I think Hitati came out and he showed himself. He didn't perform well, but he was there. I think there was a lot of times that Engels was missing. I think we might see Paulo Bernardo coming in, and as Ryan touched upon earlier in the podcast, I think you might see Greg Taylor coming back into the first 11. So for me, Brendan it's kind of unpredictable sometimes about how many changes he makes. Most of the time he'll not make a hell of a lot of changes, but if there was 3 changes I'd be looking at, it would maybe be Taylor in for Sloop. I think it would be Paulo Bernardo in for Engels, and possibly, I know you don't want to hear this, but Yang in for Nicholas Kuhn, possibly. What's your thoughts, John?
I'd rather have Bobby Lennox instead of Yang, by the way, and Bobby's 80 or something. But definitely changes, no matter what. There's definitely got to be changes because that was unacceptable last week. I can see maybe Tony Ralston coming in, Greg Taylor, but I don't like too many changes at the back. But Brendan has done that previously. Maybe 10-3 the back 4
Do you think
out,
Nerofsky
which he
make it
has
back
done.
in?
Possibly can. Possibly. You never know right enough. You never know because he's obviously, what Brendan was saying, obviously trustees in his thinking regarding that, about how disappointing it was. For me, I think Engels has got to come out. I think Bernardo's got to come in. Hitati, I don't know. McCowan, obviously Hitati's a better player than McCowan, but
I don't think McCown
He's-
looked
he's
good
in-
when they come on either at the weekend, but as well, that's I think I don't think, no, it's just a wee, do you think McCown looked alright at the weekend?
I thought he played in the final third.
Aye.
He tried to get forward as much as he could, but obviously we're hunting for a goal at that point, and we're pushing. I'd like to see him throw a wee spanner in works. It would surprise me if James Forrest
I was
plays.
going to say, do you think you might lean on? He done it last year.
Experience.
He done it last year when he played Forest a lot in the last few weeks of last season. Do you think you might lean him on to get him in the line?
I can probably see it, aye. If Kuhn is underperforming, maybe Jota's no at it, definitely. Obviously, Yang's an option. Which I can see Yang playing quite a bit towards the end of the season. No for me personally, but I can see it because of the inconsistency of the team. I think Jota's got to start right enough. Jota's one that kind of gets me off a seat, as he says. He's the one that excites me out of the wide players.
Jota's like
That's a bonus this season, having
Aye.
Jota playing the amount of games he's
Jota's
played.
like Edward for me. When Edward got the box, I know people are going to. I'm no buyer. I'm no calling to get Edward back. I'm just saying, Jota is the sort of player that I'm not saying that's why you pay your season books, but that I'm going to see Jota today. I'm going to see him going. And Edward, as soon as Edward got the ball, I thought, right, like you says, go and do something. Jota does that for me.
It gets you excited.
I'd put Jota in a higher standard than Edward in that regard, to be honest. I see where you're coming from, but you look at it's the trickery kind of Jota as well. For me, obviously, kind of growing up, I would put it in a comparison to kind of Aidan McGeady. Like when you in Celtic Park and Aidan got the ball, you knew he had that trickery and that kind of that ability to beat a man. So when he got the ball, it was basically half a stadium kind of nudge forward in their seat, like go on. And I think that's what you get for Jota. You know the ability that he's capable of. You know that he's able to kind of change a match within kind of a few touches of the ball and kind of 5-10 seconds. He can change a match. So I think Jota's one that's always going to be in that team unless his form and his standard kind of drops off a cliff. I think he's always that guy that can kind of change a game. So I don't see Jota kind of changing, but it will be interesting to see what kind of changes are made, if any, at the weekend. But I think you've seen kind of Brendan, he's definitely not happy with that, so I think there will be at least kind of 2 or 3 changes. I don't know how many more. There was a wee comment there about Monty again. What was it? Alan, what did you think of Ida's performance at Villa Park in the Champions League? I think we addressed this before you come on, Monty. I think we says that Ida scored the cup final last year where it was at one, but cup final goals Pierre Dumby scored. Then you're looking at the Champions League. He scored goals, aye, fair play.
Is that his finest moment with Celtic jersey? Villa Park? No. Cup final? One goal in the cup final?
I know, but Champions League, Monty, as well, that's what we said earlier. Guys like Lagerbielke and Tony Waters scored in the Champions League, so I'm not buying that. We need to see an overall performance. We need to see consistency in that regard, especially when you're paying £9 million for a striker.
I know what you're saying. I will give Adam Ida his due because he was tremendous that night. He was brilliant that night. If that's Adam Ida consistently, then we've got a £9 million bargain. If that's him every single week and he's scoring goals and physical, now bear in mind he's playing against some of the best defenders in the Premier League, and he bossed him about when he was his own. He done really well, so we know what he can do. But at Celtic, you need to do it on a consistent basis. It's a striker at Celtic, in my opinion, the main number 9 or the main number 7, whatever you want to call it, Maeda, they need to get, in my opinion, I'm asking for as a fan, at least 20 goals a season.
You touched upon
22,
it as well.
24 a season.
Touched upon it as well with Giakoumakis. You look back a couple of years ago, he scores a winner against St Johnstone. Right? Adam Ida comes on. Is he capable of doing that just now? No. So that's what we need, especially you're paying kind of that kind of money. Celtic striker.
I'm no
just,
big.
I don't want to be too critical, but I just know for
I
me.
I do think if there's a guy that's going to get him better, it will be Brendan. Obviously, he signed him, he rates him. I think if there's anybody's going to get him playing better or improving and getting better as a player, then I think it will be Brendan. So we can only go. Listen, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's got to do a lot more than what we paid for him. But it's the manager obviously rates him. He sees different qualities in him. He wants to sign him and play him due to different qualities, not just his goal scoring. So
Monty's just saying correct, Ryan, and I agree, Alan. He has to do it regularly, mate. Just like Adam can do it, Monty. I will come on here and I will chew on that wooden table if he does it. I will put my hands up and accept the matter of fact if Adam Ida comes brilliantly good. But the only thing I'm saying with full honesty, in my opinion, at present, what we've seen this season overall, has his standard been up to where Celtic require? Has his standard been up to what you require when you're paying that kind of money for a centre forward? At present, no. If that changes and he turns it completely around and starts scoring goals for fun and putting in kind of performances we see at Aston Villa, then I'll come on and I'll put my hands up and say I was wrong. But at present, it's not been good enough.
And I'll leave the last thought to yourself, John.
You tell me what qualities Adam Ida brings to this Celtic team. He's struggling.
He can.
He's had moments.
Aye.
He's had moments.
Consistently, he's got to do it on a consistent basis. Aye, I would say.
If he plays better, he'll get a starting position. If he gets in, he's got to be consistent and score goals and play well. But he's not. That's why he's not playing. He's not consistent enough.
No, I know he's got. I think it's 14 goals, which is relatively okay for a guy that's not played every game. But we're wanting. I know there's going to be games where they'll chop and change, but I think we're just wanting. Again, it all depends what you all think as a fan, what you want for your striker. Now, for me, I want a guy that scores goals, but also contributes, be linking up the play, running channels. But certain players have no go in them. Certain players are just target men. Certain players are just like your Kyogos, who is mainly in the box, linking up play.
We've seen it earlier on this season. Ida was playing up top, and Rodgers is screaming at him for the side of
Try
the
to
park
coach him.
to run the channels, coaching him. He shouldn't
He
have
done
to
that
do
against. He was doing that
Shouldn't have
against.
to
I
do
think
that.
he done that against
Aye.
Hibs.
Somebody-
Last
Who's
week
the
comment
snitch?
and then
Who's the snitch asking where did you buy the Bumblebee top? I bought it 2007. No,
Turkey.
don't you mean that. So I've got a slight obsession out Ryan.
Tenerife. He got it for Tenerife. He got it for Patrick in Tenerife.
So I've got about 100 selling taps. I've got two of these actual taps. So these are I got these back when they came out actually. So I don't know if you can buy the kind of knockoff versions, but as you see, I kind of.
But we don't do we don't
I've
do
already made it.
we don't do knockoff telly. We don't do knockoff strips. We don't do it for that on here.
I'm going to wear a knockoff tap. So that's just to answer your question. But it's been a good chat, boys.
Aye.
And that's us.
If you can, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. It helps the YouTube channel get out there more. It helps us put out this content. It helps us be in here in the morning. It helps us potentially, hopefully, get more guests in the future, which I'll try to do for the viewers as well. But again, Aaron, thanks for your time today.
Thanks for the Marvin again
yeah.
for accommodating us with.
Good to
great
see John, Miz.
hospitality.
People have obviously seen John previously on, but recently it's been on Ireland. I know he's my dad, but he's obviously coached and played, so he's obviously he knows a bit about.
Two daddies and the big
Two
daddy.
daddies, aye. And the big daddy. But again,
Can I call you daddy?
Daddy. You can get us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all social media platforms. We probably will be back on Friday. Friday night, probably, by the looks at it. We'll obviously update. We will update the community. We will update the Twitter. We will update the socials. But until then, enjoy the weather. Have a good Wednesday. Stay safe. And enjoy the weather. Get a beer, get a soft drink. Look forward to Saturday. And we'll see you on Friday. Hail, hail.
Baby, right round.